Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Dude, I Love and or Hate My Ride. And today I've got Joey Henderson here who brought in his Subaru Crosstrek. And the cool thing about this video is that we're going to talk about whether you should lease or buy, because Joey, you leased this.
Yes.
And one of the things that we're doing here is we're making these videos for you guys to find out what an actual owner who spent actual money, unlike us automotive journalists, on their car, thought of the buying process, why the owner, in this case you, Joey, decided to buy this car, what you thought about cross-shopping it with, and of course, how happy you are with it. So let's start with kind of what car you had before you had this Crosstrek. So what did you start with, Joey?
So I'll actually go back 2 vehicles. So
fine.
I had an '09 Legacy before this. Had my daughter in September of 2017.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Back seat in the Legacy basically had no room for a car seat. My passenger seat was about right here with the car seat in there. So then I was doing a little bit of shopping, found an '01 Trooper for pretty cheap, found it online, bought that, and while that afforded me lots of space, that was really about it. In terms of having a toddler in the back, it was not the safest vehicle. It needed new shocks.
I could see the wife saying, Joey, if we get hit, we've got a little precious one in here. It's not the latest tech.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there was ABS, and that's about all we had. So then started doing a little bit of shopping, and then that's kind of when I ended up with this.
So you went from an '01 Trooper to a 2018 Crosstrek.
2019 Crosstrek.
2019.
Yes.
And let's talk about the color. I love it. It's really beautiful.
Yes.
What's it called, and why'd you go with this color?
It is cool gray khaki, and you know, it does get pretty warm here in Colorado, and you know, I wanted kind of a light color that, you know, would help with, you know, the interior heat, if you will. Yeah, I didn't want to go with a black vehicle. I like this, and then they had a kind of a desert tan color in years past. They don't offer that anymore, so I ended up with this. Yeah.
I love kind of the two-tone that you went with. It's very black and kind of
Yep.
blue, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
But we'll get to that in a sec. We'll talk about the mods that you made, the upgrades that you made. Did you look at anything else? You said maybe you thought about like an Outback, but there was a problem with that?
Yeah. So it was between 3 vehicles, the Outback, the Forester, or this. Basically, the Outback and a few different trim levels of the Foresters, they have a rotor size that wouldn't allow for the smaller wheels that I have on this.
Yeah, let's show that right now. I mean, what's really cool about this is you actually, I think, put the smallest KO2s I've ever seen on a vehicle.
Yeah.
And so you've got not only KO2s, but you've got these really cool blackened out wheels. So tell me about that process. How much offset was there?
So there's a plus 15 offset.
Yep.
These Method race wheels are actually the wheels that the Subaru Rally Team has on their vehicles. It's a 15-inch wheel. You know, I went with this opposed to the 18-inch stock wheel just because I wanted more sidewall. I don't want to worry about curbs. I actually do take this thing off-road, so I didn't want to worry about rocks. This Crosstrek was one of the few Subarus that actually allows for that.
You get any rubbing?
No rubbing. If I were to lift this and then put probably 235s on there, I think there's a slight rub at full lock and reverse. At least that's what I've been told via Instagram, YouTube.
And how's the ride compared to the stock tires, which are much more road friendly? These are much more off-road friendly.
Yeah, so I haven't tested it myself, but I believe I've seen a video where this current setup for wheel and tire is about 6 pounds heavier than the stock wheel and tire. At least that's what I've been told. I don't really necessarily notice that, but I do notice the noise. This car was very, very quiet prior to putting on the wheel and tire, and then obviously the rooftop basket. So you definitely notice that they're there.
The other cool thing about it is over here, you've got this recovery hook, which you placed into the little hook area that most cars have these little hooks, right? And the reason they have these is not just for recovery, but when they ship them from, let's say, Japan, right? They need to hold the car down on the roll-on, roll-off boat so it doesn't slide back and forth. So that's why they have this. But you customized it. You kind of took this cover and you Oh, well, you cut a little hole.
Yeah. So I was just going to pull this little plastic plate off and just stick it in there. But then I figured that, road grime would get in there and whatnot. You were able to just pull up on this. If I do need to get towed out of anything, I can put my ring through there and, get yanked out of.
How much is this guy? How much does this cost?
I believe that was about $150.
Okay, and how much are the tires and wheels?
So the wheels, I want to say, are $188 a piece. And then I got to thinking, I think the tires are around the $160 to $180 range,
which isn't bad.
Give or take.
Yeah.
It felt kind of silly. I had brand new tires that had 100 miles on them, and then I took those off and put these on.
Yeah, what we do for
what we do for
off-roading, man. That's the price.
Yeah.
So you said you have a Monroney. How much does this guy cost? How much is the sticker on it?
So I actually do have the sticker.
Let's get the sticker.
It's inside here.
Yeah.
The MSRP with my options was $30,275.
And you decided to lease it instead of buying it.
Yes. Yep.
And that makes for an interesting video because, look, it's often the issue when you lease a car that you have to return it basically as is.
Yes.
And then the question becomes, how do I actually do the stuff I want to do to it when I have to return it? So you may or may not want to return it.
Right.
But what was the lease rate you got, and are you going to return it?
So I'll answer your last question first.
Okay.
I don't know yet. I've gone about as far as I can in terms of wheels and tires, the hook, the rooftop basket. I've gone about as far as I can without really voiding my lease.
Yeah.
I would like to lift it, for a little bit more ground clearance.
But then you're buying it for sure.
Yeah, then I'm buying it, and then I'm doing that at the end of the 3 years if I do decide to do that.
Yeah.
And I leased it primarily just because I was able to get into a little bit more of a car for
How much is a lease on this guy?
I want to say my payments are about $340 a month.
Okay, and then how many miles do you get a year for that?
12,000.
And you know your residual? You remember what that was? Okay, fair enough.
But the 12,000 will more than cover what I need. I live pretty close to work, so.
Did the dealership give you any kind of gruff when you decided? Actually, you had these Dante dealership, right? When you decided to make these changes on a leased car.
So I did these at a tire shop up north, up in Fort Collins where I live. They didn't necessarily give me a hard time about that. They did say that, there's probably going to be a lot more road grime and whatnot getting onto the vehicle. They gave me a hard time. I don't think they were mad, but they were kind of giving me a hard time about that hole that I drilled through the
little cover.
The little cover
How
up
much
top.
is that cover going to cost?
I mean,
I know.
If it's a Subaru genuine part, it'll probably cost me $50 for a little piece of plastic.
And where'd you buy this? What's the dealership?
Dellenbaugh up in Fort Collins.
And were you happy with the experience? Tell me about how that went.
It was. I did my research, so it was pretty easy. Like, I knew that I either wanted this or a Forester. Saw them next to each other, and while this thing is not sporty at all, at least had that sporty look that I was going for. So I just, right when I saw them next to each other, I kind of decided, okay, as long as the car seat fits in the back, I'm going with the Crosstrek.
Does it fit? Let's see.
Yes, it does fit.
Let's see if it fits.
Yep. I have it behind me over there.
There you go.
Luckily, I am not the tallest person in the world, so I have plenty of driving room.
So it does fit. And when you swapped out the tires and wheels, did your fuel economy get impacted?
Not necessarily with those, but with the rooftop basket. I have noticed probably about a 1.5 to 2 mile per gallon difference.
And let's see what this is supposed to get. So one of the cool things about the Crosstrek, of course, is it gets really good fuel economy. And according to the government, we've got, look at that, man, 29 combined, 33 highway, 27 city. And that's really good. But the price for that, of course, is a CVT.
Yes, and the 2-liter 4-cylinder.
So what do you think of the CVT?
It's fine.
Yeah?
It's fine for me. It's my first time having a vehicle with a CVT. I might tie a Prius if I'm drag racing one, maybe. But other than that, I mean, it's okay. Yeah. It gets around town. I'm able to get on the highway if I plan ahead a little bit.
All right. All right, so how long have you owned it?
I got it in January, 14th of January.
So
a little over a month.
A little bit over a month. So what do you like about it and what don't you like about it?
I really like the styling.
Yeah. It's a really good looking vehicle.
I feel that it looks sporty, even though it's not. I like the Subaru brand. I like the eyesight that it has. I know a lot of vehicles these days have adaptive
Yeah,
cruise
let's
control
show
and
'em.
whatnot. And
So Subaru has this. It's not really unique to Subaru in terms of what it does, but it is unique in how it does it. So it's got these two cameras, just like eyes, right?
Yep,
Two
yep.
eyes. It's called Subaru EyeSight, and basically what those cameras do is they do things like autonomous braking.
yes, adaptive
cruise
cruise control. It makes driving on the interstate just pretty easy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
So-
keep it in the lane, and then
Yeah, so basically you can do things like set the cruise control at 65, and if the car in front of you is going 60,
Yep.
the Subaru knows and
Yep.
automatically speeds up if he speeds up. And I've heard from many owners that one of their favorite features of the vehicle is the EyeSight. Would you
Yeah,
say that's true?
Yeah, yes, I do like that. That's probably my favorite thing. It is driving on the interstate. It seems like people can't keep a steady speed, so you're basically able to just kind of set it and just leave it there.
So you said you like the EyeSight, you like the styling of it, but what don't you like?
I don't like the lack of kind of cubby space, if you will. I've had to get a little bit creative and put these kind of Velcro pouches in there. I was able to find online, they're basically just little Velcro pouches that, I stick right there, that I'm able to, put first aid kit, that type of stuff in
I
there.
noticed you had that there.
Yeah.
Let's look in the back too. We'll go back here and check out what you're talking about in the back.
So yeah, you'll see in the back I have basically what I would like to put underneath in here, but that's kind of my
A recovery shovel, which is cool.
Yeah, my roadside kit, if you will. But underneath here, unfortunately, there's really no storage space besides.
And you got a space saver,
Yeah.
which isn't grand.
Right.
If you're off road and you, let's say, tear a sidewall or puncture one of those KO2s, that's not going to be grand.
Yep.
I noticed you put a recovery hook
Yes.
back here as
Yep.
well. That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, because I do take this thing off road. I think I had it less than a week when I took it out onto some trails. And
Are you happy with it compared to the Trooper?
I am. I don't think it's as fun to drive as
Yeah.
my Trooper, if that makes sense. Even though it was a 20-year-old vehicle.
How about off-road, Emmett? Is it as capable off-road?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's fine for
Somebody with a 1-year-old.
someone with a toddler. Yeah. I'm able to get up to, camping spots that I want. The fact that I've got X mode and I'm able to turn off the traction control, it helps out a little bit. I definitely am not as brave as I used to be, with my other vehicle.
Yeah, and
It's fine,
Other great thing about all Subarus is they basically have, I think it's like 8.7 inches of ground clearance.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you've got enough ground clearance there where you feel like you can take it off road. You can put some bigger wheels and tires on it. It feels like it's something that can tackle light off roading. Besides cubby holes, anything else you're not enthralled about?
I would say the acceleration, but I knew that going into it. So it's like that's kind of a non-issue. I would prefer more space in the rear in the rear end.
would have had more
but
room.
Again, I knew that going into it. So it's like, it's besides those few things, I like the vehicle. When they came out back in, was it 2013 or 2014? I knew that I wanted one. It wasn't until just recently that I finally decided to pull the trigger. And even though it is just a Subaru, it's the nicest vehicle I've ever had. In a perfect world, I'd have a Tacoma, but I don't want to spend almost
Another $10,000 or $15,000
yeah,
more.
almost 50 grand on a vehicle. So I figured I would get this, swap out the wheels and tires, do a few little things to kind of make it a little more off-road worthy.
And I suspect at some point, if you guys have a Crosstrek, when it's time to return the lease, if you go that route, you'll be able to sell, because there's a lot of Subarus here in Colorado.
Yeah.
So it's not like something, if you decide to go for that Tacoma, that you'll, you won't be able to pass on to somebody else.
Yep.
The other question, of course, that I want to know about is, let's face it, your wife, especially with the small baby, is an important part of the buying decision. Was she happy with it? Was that something that she wanted?
Yeah. I think she was a little more at ease with me driving around with the little one in this versus my Trooper. With the side curtain airbags, the adaptive cruise control, the just overall handling of the vehicle, I think she was kind of pleased with this.
Okay.
And
when you swapped out the wheels and tires, did it change the handling of it? I mean, does it feel different? Because it certainly looks different. I mean, the look it's 100% more badass.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot better. Yeah. I never played Halo, but someone at the tire shop said it looked like one of the vehicles from Halo, which I took as a compliment.
No, it's really good looking.
I wish that I had more miles on the stock wheels and tires because I had the vehicle for maybe 3 or 4 days by the time I put those on there, so I don't know. They, like I said before, they definitely have a lot more noise, but that was kind of a trade-off that I was willing to make.
So I'll give you our experience, and this is a different vehicle, but I'll let you know. So 3 years ago, we bought a JK. That's Tommy's. You just met Tommy's vehicle. Yep. We decided we were going to lease it, right? It's smart for business to lease it. It's a better way of accounting. So we leased it, and then we thought, you know what? It was a Wrangler Sport, so it didn't have the Rubicon bits and pieces. So we thought, you know, it needs better tires. And what happens in Colorado is people buy the Sports, and the first thing they do is they get rid of they buy Rubicons, and the first thing they do is they get rid of those Rubicon wheels and tires, and then they put on like bigger 35s, right?
Gotcha.
And so they're all over the place. So we went, okay, let's get the wheels and tires. So we did the same thing you did. We got the Rubicon wheels and tires, put them on the Sport, and you know, we're driving around with it. It was cool, and then we're like, I wonder what it's like if we lift it, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And now we're, 3 years later into it, and we've lifted it, and we've put radios into it, and done all this, work to it, and now there's no choice. We're gonna have to buy it. So I got the phone call because it's coming up in May. I got the phone call. Just want to let you know if it's not stock. There are penalties. And I was like, no, we're going to be buying it. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, we're going to be buying it.
Yeah, I've gone about as far as I can go with this before I need to just decide right away that, yes, I will be owning this car at the end of the 3 years.
Yeah.
As it stands now, I still have the stock wheels and tires. I can obviously take the stuff that I have on it off.
The roof rack comes off. That's actually really cool. Thule roof rack. I've never seen one like that. I like the shape of it. It's really cool.
I actually prefer Yakima products, but this one kind of followed the lines of the roof of the car a little bit more. So that's why I ended up with this. I would honestly prefer something with more straighter lines, but I went this route just basically the way it looked on the vehicle.
Yeah, and let's face it, this is a pretty small car, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, a Forester is bigger and an Outback is even bigger, and so you're probably going to need that if you're going to go camping.
Yeah. So I got that. I got the rear hitch mainly for either a bike rack or one of those small little cargo carriers. So I feel with the rooftop basket, the cargo carrier that'll go in the hitch, I should have enough for the 3 of us to go camping and whatnot. So.
All right, and do you have a YouTube account?
I do not.
Okay.
Nope.
So
I do. I don't have any videos.
No, I asked because when we post this video, people are going to ask you questions in the comments. Are you going to be able to answer?
Yes, of course.
And what's your like moniker, YouTube? Do you remember?
Just Joey Henderson.
Joey Henderson. So if you guys have any questions on this video and you want to know how Joey came about putting on those KO2s, what the process was, just ask him in the comments and you'll hopefully answer.
Yeah. And I mean, I honestly stole the idea for the wheels and tires off of Instagram.
There you go.
I mean,
why not?
You type in #crosstrek and it'll be one of the first ones you see is Crosstreks with those wheels and tires and the tow hook and other stuff like that. So
well, I suspect you're going to have some pretty fun adventures once the snow melts.
Yes.
Out in the high country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for bringing in the car and sharing it with our viewers. And guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember, check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real owner reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.